I could not make it past probably 40 pages because she mentioned TikTok. Why? Do you know that I'm here to escape? Now, I know we don't know each other too personally just yet, but go ahead and unfull screen me and read my username. Yeah. I have the opportunity to do something so hilarious. Today's the day. Did you guys watch that movie? Pretty spooky. What's today the day for, you ask? Well, one single person in my YouTube comments has asked me to do a bookshelf tour. And I would love nothing more. This is my favorite environment in which I can talk about books endlessly and seemingly without any reason, and no one can talk back. How awesome is that? No differing opinions, no similar opinions, no listening required on my part at all. This is ideal for me. Regardless of how many bookshelf tours I've watched in my day, I still can't figure out how this works for some reason. I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do. I think I'm just going to talk about ones that pop out at me and show you the rest, I guess. Here I have my classics. Now, I won't say that my classics collection is super extensive. I will, however, say that it is just extensive enough for me because there is not much reason for me to buy any more until every last one of these has been consumed. Physically, I will be eating these novels. You guys know these books. Little Women, Peter Pan, Jane Eyre. I got these two Camus at Half Price Books, and they are the exact same cover, and they're kind of hideous, but I love that. And they were probably $3, so this is great. Here we move into some Dostoevsky, who has fundamentally changed me as a person, especially this here copy of Notes from Underground that has been read and I almost said fondled. I guess I didn't change my mind because it just came out of my mouth anyways. So many times. Almost everything in this book is underlined. I would say that more things are underlined in this book than there are not underlined things. I also have this copy of A Disgraceful Affair that is just so fun. I just love a book that's fun to hold. I could have had any edition of this, but this, specifically the size, the thickness, everything about this is fun. A little pop of color on the classic shelf. Here we move into some Shirley Jackson that I have. Unfortunately, I am also obsessed. What's unfortunate about that? Let's backtrack. Why am I saying unfortunately? It's just that some people are really annoying, I think, is my problem, and so I want to preface my interests with things like unfortunately so that you know that I don't want to be that guy. I'm not ashamed to love Shirley Jackson. I can sometimes be ashamed of my peers. So here we have my hideous, absolutely deplorable copy of The Haunting of Hill House, which is one of my favorite novels. This is also one of my very few 5-star reads that has shaped me. I don't want this book. Movie tie-in covers to me do warrant jail time. So I wish that this was not the copy of this that I have. It is the copy of this that I have. Maybe someday in Half Price Books I will find a cuter one. If you know of any cute editions of this, please let me know because I don't think I like any of them. Then here the Kafka begins. Just the usual things. We've got should I tell you about my trinkets or no? Here we have this ceramic little witch's hat that my sister made with her hands and gave to me, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. There's a little tea light in here as well. And then this is just awesome. I've got the Metamorphosis. Here we have the complete stories, the essential Kafka, and then also Kafka's diaries. And let me just show you this, because this, yes, the size of this, the cover, this is in crisp, clean condition. Now you'll notice something about my books, and that is that they are pretty janky. For the most part, I used to absolutely hate a hardcover book. Y'all are about to hit unsubscribe. I love cracking a spine. I love writing on a page. I love dog-earing a page. I love tabbing. all of that. If I'm physically ruining a book, it means that I'm enjoying it. And that's so fun to me. Why wouldn't I make these my own? Why would I want to keep them crisp and clean like how they look at Barnes & Noble? Then they should just stay there. These are my books. This is awesome. When I die, you can go through the shelf and read every single one of my thoughts ever. I think that's so fun. So this edition of Kafka's Diaries being in pristine condition says a lot. There are very few books that I am unwilling to ruin. Hey, are my groceries here? Hold on. Directly next to Kafka's Diaries, we have my copy of Carmilla. I love lesbians. Oh my god, I love lesbians. This is also edited by Carmen Maria Machado. I don't know how extensive your knowledge is on this woman, but I know how extensive my knowledge is, and that is what made me take home this copy. Gothic literature, lesbians, vampires. Hello? It does not get better. Obviously, this would have come home with me either way. This cover, beautiful. It is also illustrated. Yes. This is just very important to me. And then here at the end of the shelf are some of my prized possessions, aka my Poe collection. I have been obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe since we read A Telltale Heart in middle school, I believe. Things just kind of went downhill from there. So while almost all of these editions probably contain the same works, I will continue collecting them. I don't care how many separate books that I have that contain Annabel Lee, because that poem deserves to have been printed this many times. So let me just show you a couple of my favorites. This is beautiful. This was gifted to me for my birthday, Christmas, from my friend Caroline. Thank you so much, Caroline. Penguin Classics edition. This is just essential. Here we have this dusty, old, nasty, biblical edition. The smell of this book, oh my god. It's perfect. It is yellowed. It is so old. It's disgusting. I am obsessed with it. This was printed in 1966. Here's something really interesting and different. This is an Edgar Allan Poe comic book? Yeah, it's just a couple of stories and poems, fully illustrated and turned into a comic. Now, I can honestly say I'm not interested in comic books, and this is the only one that I've ever read. However, why wouldn't I have this? I can't pass this up. I need to stop with this, but this is also a gorgeous edition. I want to say this is the Canterbury Classics edition, and I just love it. Gold sprayed edges, biblical. Incredible. As for my trinkets on this shelf, here we have this little quill that I purchased in Germany several years ago. Here we have a little hammer that I made. I found these two pieces of bark outside, and I took them home with me, and I glued them together to make this little tool for any small creature that might stumble across it and need it. I don't have rodents, as pets or otherwise. I just want to make sure that I'm taking them into account when I make my decisions. And then also this raven, of course, just as an ode to my bestie. Uh-oh. Where's my mic? Oh shit, y'all not gonna be able to hear me. Can we be serious? Is anybody being serious? I found it. Oh my god, don't freak out. Chill. I would also like to point out that I did not dust these shelves in any way. Unfortunately, that's outside of my realm of capability at this time, and that's just gonna have to be okay. These plants also all look a little thirsty. They were watered this morning. That's not a lie. I take care of them, I promise. And they mean a lot to me. Here at the tail end of our classics, if you'll just look behind there, we have 2 copies of Frankenstein, the Penguin Classics edition that I have, ruined. I reread this every single fall. I'm sure you could have guessed that. It just puts me in a Halloween mood because that's when I read it the first time, and so it's a tradition. And so as a result, it looks like this. And I love that. This is what I mean when I say I love destroying my books. Had I not cracked that spine and treated that book as if it were, well, my book, I would have nothing to show for the fact that I read that every single fall. I would show you a pristine copy of Frankenstein and say, I read this all the time. Would you believe me? It doesn't matter in the grand scheme, but it's fun. Here I also have 2 copies of Dracula. We have the Barnes & Noble Classics edition, and then we also have this bad boy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you thought you liked it already? Yeah. Yeah, sprayed edges. Sprayed edges, that's bats. This is just gorgeous to me. This is another Halloween reread. Closing that out, we have some Virginia Woolf and then also Dorian Gray, which I know I've only made one video here. And I know I've only showed you 2 shelves, but I think we understand each other in a way that I don't have to explain my connection to that book, so we'll move on. This is so fun. Here we have a book nook that I made with my hands. It took so many hours, but it is so awesome. Look. Oh, is that the one I have to hold on? Hold on. Okay, so it is out of battery. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. The lights turn on and it looks like a little library in there, and it's awesome, and you don't have to believe me. Moving on from classics, we step into the realm of memoirs, autobiographies, otherwise nonfiction. I have this new copy of Didion and Babbitts that I am so excited to read. I don't know what its exact place is on the TBR, but it is high up there. I'm very excited. The bookseller told me that it reads like literary gossip, and that is fun. Here we have Junkie by William S. Burroughs. I think this might be an unpopular opinion, but I love this book. Maybe don't shoot your wife in the head, though. Ooh, and then your books won't be so controversial. The Year of Magical Thinking. This book changed me forever. We have Billie Eilish's little picture book. I'm not immune to the whims of the average 20-something-year-old gay. I'm not. Here we also have something that I recommend to almost everyone. Pretentiousness, Why It Matters. An essay by Dan Fox that has shifted my perspective on so many things in this life. I will find any excuse to recommend this essay. Anytime pretentiousness is brought up or criticized within my circle of friends, online, etc., read this book. If no one was pretentious, nothing would be good. Continuing in that vein, we have The Diary of Anais Nin. I'm going to be honest, that's how I pronounce that in my head. I've never heard anyone say it aloud, and so if that is wrong, please correct me kindly. We also have Just Kids by Patti Smith, obviously. And next up we have another 5-star read. This is I Am by Maggie O'Farrell. Now you'll notice this does not have a cover on it because this was at a time of my life when I hated hardcover books so much that I refused to keep the slipcovers on them for some reason. I just threw them away. And so this is what I have now, but this is fine. This is a memoir about Maggie O'Farrell's 17 Brushes with Death. And for this to be a memoir, the prose is breathtaking. This is something else that I recommend to any and everybody. If you've never read a memoir or aren't really interested in nonfiction, neither was I until I read this book. And I sobbed. I am has been my Instagram bio for, I think, 5 years now. It lives at the forefront of my brain all the time. Check it out. Here we have Letters to a Young Poet, and then we move, conveniently, into poetry. Now, I don't have much of it, but what I do have is phenomenal, and I feel confident in saying that. We're going to start a little controversial. I have quite a bit of Bukowski here. I have 4 Bukowskis. I wouldn't say that's quite a bit. I unfortunately do enjoy Bukowski's work. I think that men should not be forgiven, and I don't forgive him. However, I don't think that I have to in order to enjoy his work. I think he was a nasty old man who had horrible, horrible opinions about most things. I do also unfortunately think that he was a really, really good poet, and those two things can exist at the same time. We have Film for Her by Orion Carlotto. That was a really enjoyable poetry collection. None of it super stuck with me, but I did like it a lot. Here we move into my Billy Collins, which is someone that I got into kind of recently and have really been enjoying. I love when nature plays a big part in poetry. That's probably my favorite kind of poetry. So I just found In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado in the poetry section. It does not belong there. I cannot go through all of these shelves and make sure that everything is in the right place. I can do that maybe once a year, and now is not that time. This is another life-altering 5-star read. This is largely autobiographical, but the story is told in such a new way. It's essentially just a bunch of short stories that are detailing this horribly abusive lesbian relationship, but all of the chapters are named something like Dream House as Time Travel, Dream House as a Stranger Comes to Town, Dream House as Noir. So it has this really unique structure that makes it more devastating. This is an essential read for the queers, and also if you're straight, I guess you can read it too. Carmen Maria Machado is a wizard when it comes to language, and I have so much respect for this woman. I would die for her, and that's how I feel. Now we get into my Mary Oliver collection. If you'll just peek behind this curtain. There are quite a few of them, but still not all. That woman wrote so many poems, and I am so glad that I have more of them to collect. If you watched my first video, you know that Mary Oliver is kind of one of the only things about me, and so I'm really proud of this. We also have a copy of Sappho in here, which is just a lesbian requirement, really. Here on the other side, at the end of our poetry collection, we have some Ocean Vuong, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and Time as a Mother. I enjoyed both of these. Time as a Mother was my favorite. And then we also have Night Sky with Exit Wounds, which I have not gotten around to yet, and I really need to, but I also don't want to feel sad right now. And that's the truth. And then very last, we have On Sun Swallowing by Dakota Warren, who is an incredible poet. If you are on the booktube corner of the internet, maybe you know her, but besides being a fan of her content, this is amazing. Now we move into a more sort of general fiction kind of vibe here. I used to try to separate things within literary fiction, dystopia. I just can't. There's no other reason. Starting with Call Me By Your Name, I have nothing to say about this. I'm not willing to discuss it. We have Martyr, which I just talked about in my last video that I loved. Another queer read that I highly recommend is Our Wives Under the Sea. This is about a married lesbian couple in which one of our main characters has just come back from being lost, kind of, in a submarine underwater. She was supposed to come back a lot sooner than she did. They lost power. Her wife is not exactly sure what happened to her while she was in this submarine, but something is deeply wrong. And this was just really captivating. 5-star read alert! I know I keep harping on the fact that I don't have a lot of 5-star reads, and I feel like I just keep talking about them. There's a few, but in comparison to all of the books behind me, it doesn't feel like there's that many. Another one of which being Bunny by Mona Awad. This book is a fever dream. That's what everyone says about it. If you've somehow gone this far without picking it up, then maybe you're tired of hearing that about it, but it is true, and it is also incredibly written. It is so atmospheric, it's so fall time, it's so campus novel. It's not gay, but isn't it though? This left such a mark on me. I think about it constantly. Here we have a couple different Bachmans. This bookshelf is packed so tight I can't get anything out of it, but this one in particular, you can see, I can't even think about, really. It's called And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer. First of all, amazing title. Love that. Love when a book has a weirdly long title. I'm drawn in immediately. This is about a little boy and his grandpa who has Alzheimer's, and that's all that I'll say. I'm moving over here now. We have Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I can honestly say I did not get through this, unfortunately. It says a love story. I knew that that was true. I was not aware how kind of like a romance it is. That sounds stupid, but its emphasis on being a love story felt to me like there was a lot more happening emotionally, and there is, but I just have a hard time with straight media. Unfortunately, I cannot relate to it. And so it doesn't interest me. And I don't read romance. That's one thing you will not see on these shelves besides, I guess, this book. I know I also said I don't read fantasy, but there's like a couple straggler fantasies in here. Romance is one thing I just can't get down with, unfortunately. I've got romance in my real life. So yeah, I got about halfway through this and could not get down with it. Just too straight, as much as I hate to say it. Here's something amazing. Now, I know we don't know each other too personally just yet, but go ahead and unfull screen me and read my username. Yeah. I have the opportunity to do something so hilarious. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But also, what are the odds? I found this in a Goodwill for like $1. I was like, okay, so this is trying to tell me something? JK. Here we have my very first ever copy of The Hunger Games. That's another thing I'll get really weird about. I don't feel like doing it here today with you. Here are my hardback editions of the original Hunger Games series. Here's my copy of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I also took the slipcover off of and threw away. This is my copy of Sunrise on the Reaping, which I did just finish a few weeks ago. Suzanne Collins has never failed anyone, ever. I don't think I have to discuss it any more than that. And this here's my illustrated copy of The Hunger Games, which is such a fun thing to have. We've got some Rachel Cusk in here. Second place specifically has a spot in my heart for sure. I have 2 Ella Ferrantes. I did read The Lost Daughter. I don't remember what I rated it. It might have been a 3. I think perhaps I just picked this up at the wrong time, unfortunately, and so I was not super pleased with it. It just felt like it kind of dragged on for me. But I do also have this copy of My Brilliant Friend, and I am very much excited for it, because my experience of The Lost Daughter does not make me feel less inclined to read more Ella Ferrante at all. Here we have this book that I don't think I would like and tried to sell on Pango for like 2 years and nobody wanted it, but now it just lives here. Here we have my copy of Joey Graceffa's ghost-written dystopian series. I was 13 once. Orbital by Samantha Harvey is something that I actually just got recently, and I am so excited to read. This is at the top of my TBR. I don't know that it's in the #1 spot, but it's up there because I've heard such incredible things about this, and I know that it's going to make me cry. I also just realized that this is going to be several hours long if I don't speed it up, so let me chill out. We've got some more general fiction. The Vegetarian is also very high up on my TBR. This just seems really unsettling and fun, and I need to get to it. I have 2 Clarice Lispectors. I have not read either. I have not yet picked up any Clarice Lispector because I know that it is going to become a part of my personality, and I just don't have any more room right now. Honestly, I think I might be waiting until it's like super hot, unbearable, sticky summer to pick these up. I don't know why, but it just feels like the time to read them, and so I'm leaving them here. My copy of Northwoods, which I'm obsessed with. 5 stars. We've been over this. A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing. This is one of the most uniquely written books I have ever read in my entire life. This is written from one girl's perspective from the age of, I think, like 3 or something. And so for the first part of this novel, you have no idea what she's talking about. She is babbling like a child, but on paper, and it's so interesting to see it all kind of start to make sense very slowly. This is about grief and family, and it is just so unique, and I loved it. We have Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I actually really enjoyed. I know there's been complaints about it being kind of millennial-y, and I'm surprised that I didn't have that same qualm with it. I don't remember much about this novel, but I feel like if that was a big problem with it, I would have been the first one to kind of point it out. So I did also get Blue Sisters as my Book of the Month pick, and I have not gotten around to it, but I really would like to. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Now, this isn't technically a 5-star read for me, but like, wasn't it though? This book got me out of the craziest reading slump at the beginning of this year. It's a mystery, it's kind of a thriller. I love a long book. I love getting to sink my teeth into something and like live amongst characters for kind of a while. So I love a good short, snippy little piece of fiction, but also something like this where you are with them for a good amount of time is so fun to me. The prose in this was amazing. My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I hated this book. I hated this book. I didn't think it was anything profound. I thought it was just some random rich girl complaining, and I can't do it. I think people try to assign some deeper meaning to books like this, including the author. I want to say that that was her intention. It just did not come across for me, unfortunately. It was reminiscent of Diary of an Oxygen Thief, if any of you are familiar, where it was supposed to be this kind of character study on this guy with a troubled mind or whatever. It was published anonymously. Good thing, because he just hates women. It wasn't well written, it wasn't deep, it wasn't philosophical, it was just bad. Unfortunately, there was no overarching theme or moral or anything at all. It was just this guy hating women. And this was just some rich girl being sad. To me, unfortunately. I do also have Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. I don't know how excited I am to pick it up, but it's on my shelf, so I will. We have a couple other Maggie O'Farrells, Hamnet being another one of my favorites. This is amazing. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's about Shakespeare's wife and kids. Shakespeare's never named, but it's very clear that that's who it's about, but it is not about him. It's about his family, and it's amazing. Nothing too crazy here. Where the Crawdads Sing, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I can honestly say if it came out today, I don't think I would pick it up because it was so super hyped on the internet, and for some reason I kind of steer clear of that level of hype because I've stopped trusting people's recommendations, except for a very small pool of people. But I did really enjoy this, so that kind of disproves everything I just said. The Divergent series that I've had for years. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is another book that I started and realized that it was like kind of romance, got disinterested and put down. I never finished it, unfortunately. It's not my vibe. Days at the Murasaki Bookshop. So I heard actually kind of a lot of good things about this. I have 4 things tabbed, and so it couldn't have been that bad. I was just really displeased with the lack of depth here. I think that was kind of the point. It was supposed to be very slice of life, simple sort of storytelling. I just couldn't get behind it. The language to me wasn't anything impressive, and the story kind of dwindled at the end. The idea of this, on the other hand, is really, really fun. Essentially, this girl runs away from her shitty life to live at this bookstore with her uncle, I believe. And the atmosphere of it is really cute and fun, but I didn't enjoy it too much. Then at the end here, we have A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, which unfortunately is another one of my 5-star reads that fundamentally changed me, but I think that everything that needs to have been said about this book has been said by someone else, and so I have nothing to add to the conversation. I also don't really recommend it. I'm so happy to be sitting down, you have no idea. Here we move into my thriller slash mystery slash horror moment. I'm the same way with movies and TV, where I mostly... Do you have something to say? Okay. I mostly only enjoy dark media, so that's why there are so many of these. I have to kick my son out because you're breathing onto my mic. Go lay down. Go get your toy. Kids. I mostly enjoy dark media, and so that's why I have so many of these. I will say I don't have as much horror as I would like. I haven't been able to kind of find my niche when it comes to horror in books. In movies, I kind of know what I'm interested in. If you have any horror book recommendations, please leave them. He's now squeaking his toy. I love it here. Please leave them down below, because I would like to branch out. Starting out with this absolutely horrible novel by Rumaan Alam. It's called Leave the World Behind. You might have seen this actually got turned into a movie. I don't believe that I've watched it yet. This book just pissed me off, I fear. Why are you describing this teenage girl's nipples through her shirt multiple times per chapter? I did not like this. Every single woman that entered this story served the purpose of sexualization. I hated it. I thought it was so gross. I also tried to sell this on Pango multiple times. Now, unfortunately, it lives here. The Push by Ashley Audrain. I actually really enjoyed this book. This was very psychological. I don't remember too much about it, unfortunately. I know it's about a mother and her super creepy son who she tried to warn people about kind of forever, and nobody believed her and they thought that she was going crazy. I don't believe she turned out to be crazy, as shocking as that might sound. Here we have Rouge by Mona Awad. I want to say I'm halfway through this. I have not finished it yet, but I was really enjoying it. Psycho. I enjoyed this, but not to any significant degree. I wouldn't pick it up again, but I'm happy that I read it. The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I really enjoyed this. It's nothing impressive. It's nothing super literary or full of breathtaking prose, but it was a really fun thriller. House of Leaves. I can't talk about it. So, Alice Feeney. So in my last video, I talked about this book that I couldn't remember that was full of horrible like little metaphors and idioms that were just placed there for the sole purpose of ending chapters in some sort of pseudo-intellectual way. I found some examples of this. So the book was called Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, and here are some quotes from that book. The castle is made of sand, never stand tall forever. Dreams are like dresses in a shop window. They look pretty, but sometimes don't fit when you try them on. Tiny violins always sound loudest to those playing them. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you even actually talking about? A second marriage was the ransom I should have never paid. Huh? What? Like, what? The scariest haunted houses are always the ones in which you are the ghost. So over it. I actually hated that book and I had to finish it just so that I could get all of those written down to warn anyone who thought about reading that novel. So I do unfortunately have Beautiful Ugly, which is also by Alice Feeney. I don't know that I put those puzzle pieces together when I chose this book for Book of the Month, but I'm gonna have to read it just to see if it's as bad as her other book. Here we have my Lucy Foley collection. I have 2 copies of The Hunting Party for some reason. I want to say that I gave one of these as a gift and the person gave it back to me because they thought that I was just loaning it to them. So that's tragic. I don't have my copy of The Guest List here, which is actually my favorite Lucy Foley. Again, this is just a simple thriller kind of situation to me. I don't think it's anything profound. I think she's really good at writing the kind of books that she writes, though. They are so atmospheric. I love a storm. I love a setting. And she is so good at dropping a reader in a specific place and making sure that you feel like you're there. I love it. I was very displeased with The Midnight Feast. I could not make it past probably 40 pages because she mentioned TikTok. Why? Do you know that I'm here to escape? Do you know that I don't want to read about TikTok, Lucy? What were you thinking? So very disappointed in her for that. I don't know that I'll ever be able to finish The Midnight Feast because it felt like a plot point. The TikTok thing, I cannot. A few other random thrillers. Oh, I do have Verity by Colleen Hoover. I don't want to talk about it. I kind of liked it. It's the only Colleen Hoover I ever read, and it was just spooky, so it was fun, but I don't want to discuss it. None of this was true. I actually really enjoyed. And then we have 2 T. Kingfishers here. What Moves the Dead, I didn't super enjoy, which is crazy because you saw my Edgar Allan Poe collection. This is sort of a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher. I don't know what it was about it. I think the writing was just a little bit clunky for me. It lost me about halfway through. I did finish it, and I do have the second book in this now series, and I do plan on reading it, and I hope that it's better for me than the first one was, but I can't acknowledge the first one is objectively good. I just didn't like it too much. As I have to speed this up, it's not even funny anymore. Her Body and Other Parties, also by Carmen Maria Machado, a bunch of super scary short stories. I loved it. What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall, I wasn't too impressed with, unfortunately. My 2 Frida McFaddens, which I don't remember, but I did enjoy. My Darling Girl by Jennifer McMahon. This book was scary. Something about an old lady, I'm horrified. A young girl or an old lady, I'm horrified. Men of any age, but for different reasons. This is about this girl who lives in Vermont and takes in her dying mother, who she has a really tumultuous relationship with. They kind of had a falling out. They don't really talk anymore. She finds out her mom's dying. She lets her come stay with her. Everything else that happens in this book is horrifying. Mom starts being creepy as hell to the little kids, and I just had a lot of fun with this. I think I would reread it because my memory is so bad that it would probably all feel new. I also have The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon, which my girlfriend recommended to me, and I am excited to get around to it. I don't really remember what it's about, but if you have any experience with that book, please tell me about it. Here we have 3 Alex Michaelides. I have The Fury, The Silent Patient, and The Maidens. I enjoyed all 3 of these. I think I have some qualms with Alex Michaelides' writing. Like, some of it just doesn't work for me, but it'll be in short bursts where I'm like, what's going on here? And then the rest of it is fine. So, not horrible. The Ritual by Adam Neville. I was really excited about this, and I thought that I would like it a lot more than I did because I really enjoyed the movie. Super scary. These characters and this author, I'm assuming, are just either Irish or Scottish, and so it's written in a lot of that like dialect where things are spelled purposefully phonetically, how they're said by this character, so that you have kind of an understanding of how they talk. But I'm not Irish or Scottish, and so I kind of just don't understand what they're saying half the time, so I didn't love that, but the movie's great. If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, classic dark academia. This book is torn to shreds. I mean, that's disgusting. It's horrible. I dropped it in the bathtub, I'm pretty sure, or that's coffee. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this. Not as much as The Secret History, obviously, but I liked it. Graveyard Shift by ML Rio, I got when it first came out and I still have yet to read it, and then I waited too long until Halloween was over, and so now I can't read that until Halloween comes around, obviously. I have 2 Riley Sagers. I have read The House Across the Lake in full. I wasn't super impressed by it. I just think that it was a little bit corny, and I don't love the way that Riley Sager writes women. So I'm hesitant to pick up The Only One Left, which I think I had before I got The House Across the Lake. I'm sure it'll come up at some point, but I don't know. And then here at the end, we have my Goosebumps collection, because unfortunately that did raise me, and it is responsible for every weird thing about me as an adult. A lot of these are first editions. So this bad boy, yeah, that's stolen from the public library in my hometown. I did not do it on purpose. I'm pretty sure we moved, and it kind of got lost, but now I treasure it. The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, classic. This is completely out of place. This is not a horror or a thriller. Here are all 3 of my copies of The Secret History. This book informs every single thing about me. In a real way, this taught me so much about myself as a reader and the kind of things that I enjoy reading and the kind of writing style that I connect with. And so I owe my life to Donna Tartt for that. This is a 10 out of 10. I have no notes for this book. Everything about it was perfect. If you disagree, I don't care. I don't care. Dearest, this is another creepy ass book about a new mom. I think I love that kind of vibe in a thriller, like just somebody who just gave birth and maybe is going insane, or maybe something horrible's happening. I really enjoyed this. I have quite a few Ruth Ware novels here. We have In a Dark, Dark Wood, which this was when I learned how to rebind books, and so I made this, which is really fun. It is not good quality at all, but I'm really proud of it. We have several more Ruth Wares. This is another thing. It's just a simple thriller. Nothing really to talk about. I think she's great at writing a twist. I think she's great at building suspense. I think she's great at a setting, and I'm down. Black Chalk by Christopher J. Yates. I actually have not picked this up yet. I kind of forgot I had it. 1 game, 6 students, 5 survivors. It feels like very tropey kind of dark academia, and so maybe I won't enjoy it, but also it has potential. I need to get on this actually kind of ASAP. Feels like it has to be a fall thing though. Campus novel? I'm not reading that in springtime. Here we have my very few kind of fantasy leaning and or speculative fiction collection. Ninth House and Hellbent. Haven't read either of them. Ooh, I don't know. I think I was considering fantasy. I was like, maybe I could get into it because it was kind of dark academia, but then I didn't want to. Piranesi, I did really enjoy. This is another fever dream of a book. I thought it was sick. I have a real thing about dinosaurs. This just kind of is in service to that. I wouldn't say I recommend Jurassic Park to anyone who's not obsessed with dinosaurs and or that specific movie franchise. This isn't anything too special, but I loved it. This, I think, was gifted to me by a coworker who didn't know that I hate fantasy, and so now it just lives here. My TJ Klune collection, The House in the Cerulean Sea, changed my life. I have recommended this to every single person I've ever come across. I read the last line sometimes just to feel something, and I immediately start crying every single time. This lives not in my brain rent-free, but in my heart. I just recently picked up The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, which fantasy-ish? I don't think I understand what the vibe of this book is, but for some reason I think I'm really gonna like it. So I haven't gotten around to that yet, but I'm excited. Garlic and the Vampire! Oh my god. Garlic and the Vampire, as well as Garlic and the Witch. These are graphic novels. I said earlier I had never read a comic book. That's a lie. Is this a comic book? What's the difference? I don't know. This just follows this little girl, Garlic, and her friends and her community and the trials and tribulations that she faces as a little piece of garlic. And it is so whimsical and fun. And I read it during Halloween time, and it brought me so much joy. I think everybody should read these. It takes 10 minutes. It's pictures. Here we have the Percy Jackson series that I was obviously obsessed with as a child, because if you weren't, then you're not interesting as an adult. And then, unfortunately, I have all of these copies of Harry Potter. We do not support the author of these books at all. However, they're really good. Most of these I've either had since I was a child, such as this copy that is 1 billion years old and completely brown. I love it. And then I have this box set that I think is so fun because the illustrations are incredible on the covers. This is another one of those rare times where I don't want to mess books up, and so that's why I thrifted all of these hardback versions that are my go-tos for if I want to do a reread, because I don't want to fuck these up. That's why I have 3 copies of the Sorcerer's Stone of this set, because I did start my reread of this on this set and then I dropped it in the bathtub. And so that's when I decided that I wouldn't be doing that anymore, and then I tried to find another copy on Pango that was not damaged, and so now I have 3. But these hardback versions are basically just safe ones that I can read without worrying about them. And then I do have 3 of the giant illustrated versions as well. And that's kind of it, guys. The bottom row of this is all just stuff that I enjoyed as a child and have held on to. So I have nothing more for you. To the one single person that asked me for a bookshelf tour, thank you so much. This is a dream come true. I don't know why anyone would have listened to everything that I just said, but I was so happy to say it. So I owe it all to you, really. Catch you later!